Hi everyone, it's me, Spring, the fiber enthusiast, and welcome to the channel. Today we're going to do a scrunchie, but we're going to do it Tunisian style. And for the sake of this tutorial, I did my own chain, and I'll tell you how I figured up how many chains I was going to do. And then I did a Tunisian simple stitch and reverse pass. That's just the base to the rest of it. What I did was I took my hair ties. Now, some of the things you'll need for the Tunisian scrunchie will be a pair of scissors, some sock yarn or something similar, something with like nylon in it to give you some stretch, or polyester, something that's got good stretch to it. You'll need a darning needle for sewing the piece together. You'll also need hair ties. Now, if you've watched my other hair tie use, whether it be in a messy bun hat or another scrunchie video, I like to use two. And that's a precautionary measure just in case one breaks. That happens from time to time from using it a lot. So what I did to get my measurement is I stretched this as far as I possibly could. And then I measured it and then timesed it by 2 and added 1 inch just for a little bit of extra leeway. So that's what I'm using is 2 hair ties, and the hair ties I tend to use have no metal clasps, and they're not like hot glued together at the ends. This is a solid ring. Again, you'll need a Tunisian crochet hook to do this, Afghan hook, something with enough space to put a bunch of chains on. For mine, when I stretched mine out and figured it up, I went ahead and chained, and I needed 100 chains in order to accommodate the length that I would need. Because what we're going to be doing is we're going to be creating a flat panel, and then we're going to sew it around the hair tie itself. Now, if you have a small enough double-ended hook, you could very easily Tunisian crochet all the way around until you had it big enough. I do not have a small enough Tunisian double-ended hook for that. So how I'm going to work it is in the flat and then sew it together in the end. So all I'm going to do now that I have the very first foundation row set up, I have the Tunisian simple stitch, I have the back pass, and now I'm ready to begin. I'm going to zoom in so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so for this tutorial, we are just going to do a Tunisian knit. So you're going to find your vertical bar, and you're going to go in between it and the one on the back side. There is a vertical bar on each side. So you're going to go in between and all the way through, yarn over, and pull a loop up. That's a stitch. Now we're going to Tunisian purl stitch the next stitch. So bring your yarn in front of your hook, pick up your next vertical bar, yarn over, yarn over, and pull through. And that's going to be your repeat to the end of your chain. We're creating a rib stitch. So you're going to Tunisian knit stitch the next stitch, we're going to Tunisian knit stitch the next stitch, and Tunisian purl the following stitch. And you're just going to repeat this to the end of the row. 1 Tunisian knit, 1 Tunisian purl. When you get to the end of the row, we're going to do a Tunisian back pass, standard back pass. I'm going to go ahead and work to the end of my row. We'll go through one back pass together as to how to do it, and then you will go on and create your panel to 4 to 5 inches in height. Okay, so once you've made it to the end of your row, we're going to do a quick reminder as to how to do the back pass. You're going to chain 1 and then yarn over and go through 2. And that is your repeat. Yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, and go through 2. You're going to continue that until you have 1 loop left on your hook, at which point you are going to repeat the previous row, which is Tunisian knit stitch, Tunisian purl stitch, all the way to the end of the row. And you will continue doing that until you have approximately 4 to 5 inches in height. Given the bulkiness, when you fold it in half, at 4 inches, if it seems like it's going to be just right, you can stop at 4 inches, but I would suggest to definitely work up to 4 inches to start with. And if you need to add an extra inch of the 1x1 ribbing, by all means, please feel free to do so. I'm going to go ahead and work on mine. And once I have it to a point that we're going to start working it together and assembling it around our hair ties, I will be back. Okay, so once you've made it to the end of your row, we're going to do a quick reminder as to how to do the back pass. You're going to chain 1 and then yarn over and go through 2. And that is your repeat. Yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, and go through 2. You're going to continue that until you have 1 loop left on your hook, at which point you are going to repeat the previous row, which is Tunisian knit stitch, Tunisian purl stitch, all the way to the end of the row. And you will continue doing that until you have approximately 4 to 5 inches in height. Given the bulkiness, when you fold it in half, at 4 inches, if it seems like it's going to be just right, you can stop at 4 inches, but I would suggest to definitely work up to 4 inches to start with. And if you need to add an extra inch of the 1x1 ribbing, by all means, please feel free to do so. I'm going to go ahead and work on mine. And once I have it to a point that we're going to start working it together and assembling it around our hair ties, I will be back. Okay, so I've been working along, working this rib 1x1 stitch, and I got to a point where I was getting close to running out of the sock yarn. So I said, all right, let's go ahead and measure it and see where we're at. And we are just about 3 3/4, so almost 4 inches, just slightly over half. I'm going to go ahead and stop with the height there. As I said earlier, you can go 4, 4.5, 5 inches, something like that. That all depends on you. As you will see here, if I take and put this through and fold it over, with the amount of fabric that I have at this point, which is just, shy of 4 inches, you can see how much fabric wraps around those 2 hair ties. Now, how big and squishy and full you want it would determine how long and how high your fabric is. But for mine, we're going for the tutorial, is just over 3 3/4 inches, and I'm using 2 hair ties, and that is what it's at. So let's go ahead and connect this around the hair ties. So I'm going to pull up a loop here. Now you can do this by sewing it if you would like. Get your hair ties in place. Go over that end. Get your hair ties in place where it's started, and then just start sewing, whip stitch all the way around, and you'll have to bunch it together and really, you know, work it until it gets to the point where it all fits on there. Or you can use the Tunisian hook or a regular hook. I'll grab a regular hook for now. Use a regular hook to bind off this particular stitch and do it in pattern. So I'm going to zoom in so that way you can see. So I have my regular hook here, and my first stitch is right here. So if I go through it just as if I was going to make another row, as if to knit, I'm already around the hair tie. Now I can come over here to the knit stitch right here and go through it. So that's that knit row right there. Let's see if I can get it better for you. There we are. So that's the knit. Whoops, lost it. Come on. There we go. Be nice. Okay, so that's that first Tunisian knit stitch row. And then you can yarn over and pull through. And yeah, I lost my stitch here. Hang on. There we are. Through and through. The next one is a purl stitch, and you can pick up that purl on this side, then reach over to the opposite side and pick up the purl stitch on the opposite side. So just come over here and pick up that first purl stitch. That's the second one. I want the first one. There we are. That first purl stitch, and yarn over and pull through and through, and then slip stitch to complete that stitch. And then you would work your knit stitch the same way. Go all the way through the knit stitch on this side and come out the knit stitch on the other side. Now this is a little tedious, and the more full your scrunchie gets, the more tedious it's going to be. But if you want to bind off a Tunisian bind off and bind off in pattern, that's how you would do it. And let me just do a couple more stitches here, and I'll show you what it looks like when I am a few stitches in, so you can kind of get an idea as to what it looks like. Okay, so here we are. This is what it's going to look like if you do it in a Tunisian bind off and you do it in pattern like I was showing you. So that's what it's going to look like. It's not a huge rib here. It is a little bit of one. You can see there. So the choice of either sewing it together all the way around or using the Tunisian bind off is completely up to you. That's neither here nor there. It is whatever you want to do, and you will just continue to pick it up and make sure that your hair tie is in between the two pieces of fabric as you go. And I'm going to go ahead and finish this off so that way you can see it completed, and I'll be right back. Okay, so once you've made it all the way around, whether you whip stitched it mattress stitch, which is what I did, or you actually use Tunisian bind off style. Either which way, what you will do last and final part of this will be to sew the two ends together. So you'll match up your two ends as best as possible and just start sewing around. Let me get back on the needle here. Okay, so here I am at the very end. I'm just going to go through the very end up here. And pull them together. And I'm going to work that all the way around. I'm going to come up through the next stitch on this side. And then catch the next stitch on this side and just continue to work all the way around the whole entire thing until you have reached the other end, at which time you will sew in your ends and it'll be done. All right, to sew in your ends and make them disappear within the fabric, here's how you do it. Let me get both of these tails, the starting tail and the ending tail, on the needle. And then you're going to pick up your fabric and find the closest entrance to where your ending point is after you've tied off and you have it secure. You're going to find the closest entrance point and insert your needle to make sure that it's in between all the pieces of fabric. You're going to scoot it all the way down several inches. Make sure that it's only between the pieces of fabric so that way you're not weaving back and forth between. And then you're just going to pull your needle and tail thread through like such, and then clip away. Which I still have a little tail there, but when I go like this, it disappears. And then you are done with your scrunchie. You can adjust it so that way your seam is on the inside, or you can leave the seam on the outside. That's up to you, however you want to do that. But there you have it. That is the Tunisian scrunchie. I hope that you have enjoyed this tutorial. If you make this, I would love to see it. You can share it in the Facebook group. You can share it and tag me on Instagram. You can also send me a picture of it in an email if you would like. Be blessed, be a blessing, and until next time, bye for now.